Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TJ's Lego Room. And today we're going to be going over once again a mock that I have done before, but one that I finally was able to put together instructions for you guys for free. So let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? This is my Batmobile. Well, actually, this is a Batmobile and the Batpod, but we'll talk about that in just a second. All right. This is my custom Batmobile. I built this quite a while ago, but just recently, while I've been working on the instructions for the all-terrain tactical command center, the giant six-legged walker that I built quite a while ago, I needed a little bit of a break, especially since it's taking longer than I thought it would. I actually hoped that today I would be releasing those instructions. That did not happen, but nonetheless, I wanted to get some instructions out for you guys. So I took a little bit of a break, and in less than 3 hours, I was able to put together and basically go through all the instructions for this mock. And in that same amount of time, I got through about 100 steps of instructions for the all-terrain tactical command center. The number of steps in the ATTC is right now around just under 2,000 steps. We're not quite 25% of the way through, and I was working on that a lot this week. So it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. I apologize to everybody. I really thought I'd be faster than that, especially with how well I was able to get the instructions back in. But nonetheless, I wanted to make sure I had some instructions out for you guys, and so I decided to grab this guy off the shelf, do a little bit of redesigning on it, and get it out to you guys so that you could all build this version of it yourself. For those of you who haven't seen the original video for this, I am going to go ahead and go over some of the design prompts and the ideas that I had when I built this Batmobile. I don't have a lot of Batmobiles actually around. I have a tumbler, and I have my tumbler in Star Wars that I built, but otherwise I don't really have much else for the ship, for as far as Batmobiles go. But I do quite enjoy Batman, and the Dark Knight series was really, really good, at least in my own opinion. And while I hadn't seen a lot of the Batman that came before it, I really quite enjoyed this one. Now this ship, I call it the John Robin Blake version of the Batmobile. If you've seen the Dark Knight trilogy, you'll understand what happens. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to be talking about spoilers. The movie is quite old now, so I think it's over 10 years old now. Wow, I'm really old. Anyway, at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, John Blake, whose real name is Robin, apparently, but John Blake actually is led to the Batcave, and Batman kind of hopes that he will eventually take up the mantle of the Batman. The only problem that I saw with doing this is he didn't have much left when John Blake would have come and taken over. As far as vehicles anyway. I mean, he still has the suits, he still has all the cool technology and the utility belt, right? But as far as vehicles go, as far as I could tell, there's only one vehicle that Batman still had control over and still had in his repertoire, and that is the Batpod. So the Batpod was based off of, or actually came from the Tumbler and was built into it. I'm sure you guys all know this, but it's helping me walk through the design of it. And so this is all he had in The Dark Knight Rises, and Catwoman, Selena Kyle, used it mostly in that show. And this is my own custom version of a Batpod. I probably should put out a digital version if I haven't already. I thought I had put a digital version of this together, but maybe I haven't. Either way, this is my own version of the Batpod. And what I thought is that John Blake when he designed a Batmobile, he probably would have been driving this around quite a bit and gotten used to some of the controls and some of the features that it had. And so when he decided to go up, oh, sorry about that, bumped the camera. When he decided to build his own Batmobile, I imagine he would probably take a lot of the design ideas and design prompts from the Batpod. And so that's exactly what I did. As you can see from the side, the profile of the thing has that center arch that it moves around. So the Batpod has a little bit of an arch shape to it, and so does the next generation Batmobile. And then you can see, obviously, on the front, we have the weapons. We have some sort of a laser sight, possibly some heavy cannons, and then some grappling hooks, just like we saw the Batpod have in The Dark Knight when he was able to flip Joker's truck. He would have found great uses for those grappling hooks, and so I imagine he'd probably keep that feature on the new one. Now, a couple of things it also has, it does have a jet engine on the back. Now, I actually ran out of these 2x2 tiles that have the fan printed on them, but in the instructions and the parts list, I did include the one with the fan print. So yours will probably look just a little bit better than mine. I guess I could have taken it off another ship or another mock, but you know, I didn't really want to. I want to keep those together as best I can. I really love how this rolls. It actually rolls extremely smooth. Despite not having normal wheel connections. But I think you'll find that it works really good. You may have to do a little bit of finicking with the placement of the wheels and their bushings and plates that I use to hold them in. But once you get that just a little tiny bit loose, they'll flow so perfectly. And actually, I love the rolling on it. I really do. I think it looks cool having the open wheels, like similar to like the Arkham Knight Batmobile, but then also having it covered up on the sides and stuff, like so many of the other Batmobiles we've seen. I just really love the way that this turned out. Gosh, yeah. It's just great. So I always imagined it'd be like that. He definitely would have taken some additional prompts from having seen the Tumbler before. And so even though it's a pretty thin vehicle, and you can see it's got that really cool, really sweet arch to it, it is fairly wide and flat. So if I turn it sideways here like this, you can see it's actually quite wide for a minifigure. Like if this were actually driving in a minifigure scale world, this would take up an entire street, right? Because of how wide the thing is. But we're imagining maybe not perfectly to scale, but it's close, right? One of the main things that I'm really proud of is the use of this Hero Factory thing right there, that Hero Factory piece. I was able to integrate it pretty well into the build, and it looks like the turbine for the jet engine on the back, like you would normally have on any Batmobile, right? So I thought it was kind of cool to be able to use that. And then I also used some additional Hero Factory pieces on the sides here, using some fun little techniques to get those attached to regular system bricks and things like that. So in the end, this is kind of how I picture the arsenal of John Blake would end up. John Robin Blake, or however his name is actually written out. But this is kind of what I imagine his arsenal would start to look like. Oh, there's one other thing that I did include on this that you may not know super well. But when I designed it, I did want two ridges that you could kind of visually see going all the way from the front to the back. And those were meant to kind of reminisce about the fins that the Batmobiles used to have. It was kind of it was just one of those extra little design prompts that I had that I was like, oh, if I had some way to put fins on it like the old Batmobiles. In the end, I just went with the two ridges that went all the way from front to back as kind of a little bit of a visual memory of what that could have been like. Otherwise, I kept it very utilitarian, very much like the Dark Knight movies did. They did not want to spend a lot of time trying to make it look like the cartoon Batman or Batmobiles. And so they went with very real world, even though it's a little bit fantasy inspired in a lot of ways, especially the Batpod. But they really did want to ground it in reality, and I think it did a pretty good job of grounding it in reality as well. And so that's basically all the information that I wanted to put together for this mock. And once again, I think it turned out really well. The instructions are available on rebrickable.com right now. You're welcome to head over and pick those up for free. The parts that I used in here, I think went up to about $50. I think is what it was saying that it costs if you bought all of them off of Bricklink and Brick Owl. But you can obviously get it for a little bit cheaper if you look carefully. For some reason, the Hero Factory part, that top part, is very expensive for some reason. I don't know why, but this one came up as the most expensive piece in the entire set, which was a little flabbergasting to me because I didn't think the Hero Factory sets did that well sales-wise, and I thought there were quite a bit of extra ones, but maybe it's a more of a rare piece than I imagined. But I'm not going to change it. I think it looks too good to change it. Even on the front, around the windscreen, it even has little holes on either side of the windscreen that almost look like intake air vents. I mean, just the way that those Hero Factory pieces, when you integrate them properly, how well they look, they fit in, and how awesome they look, and the amount of detail you can get out of them is amazing. I probably should have more of those pieces around because they're quite fun to try to work around and integrate into system bricks. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'm having so much fun. I really have enjoyed working on the ATTC. I wanted it to be done this month. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. It is a much bigger project than I anticipated. But we should have those out soon to you. For my patrons, the coupons for the mocks for this month should be going out this weekend as well. So please be patient with me. I was trying to release them with the ATTC, as you know from our posts. But I promise you, I'm going to get those out now, since the ATTC won't be coming out for a while. But anyway, if anyone else is interested, I'm going to be doing a little bit more on my Patreon. I'm going to be posting some extra pictures of my collection, including some of the new sets that I've got, as well as doing a couple of mocks that I found on Rebrickable and in a few other places, and kind of showing and doing, not really reviews, but just kind of showing what I did and how I liked it. So I know that's a little bit of a long goodbye. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So I hope you guys are having a great time and have a great weekend. And until we see you next time at TJ's Lego Room, play well. Bye. And see.